Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel, Jerry's Kisten, and today I want to talk about my labor and delivery story from Sienna. And this is Sienna. Ooh, this is her. I love her so much. Okay, my labor and delivery story. It all happened at the 4th of December, and it was 4 weeks and 1 day before my due date. So I was currently at that time 35 weeks and 6 days pregnant. And it was 6 o'clock in the morning. The alarm went off for my husband because he needed to go to his work. He's a fireman, and at around 8 o'clock his 24-hour shift will start. And I went to the bathroom to go to the loo, and there was some kind of fluid coming out of me. And it was a small amount of fluid, but it just came out of me, and I didn't know what it was. But it wasn't it wasn't a lot of sorry. It wasn't a lot of fluid, so I was really thinking, okay, that couldn't be my water just broke. That couldn't be that. So I went back to bed. My husband went to his work, and around 6:30, I was still going through my head. What was that? What was that? And I remember that I was thinking, if it really was that my water just broke, I would really know it, because it will be a lot amount of water or fluid. And at that point, when I was thinking that my water just broke, it just came out of me. It's really something, you can't stop it. It just comes out of you. So, and I jumped out of bed, went to the bathroom, because there I remember there wasn't glass, so I could catch up the fluid what came out of me. Hi, girl. Hi. You want to see mommy filming? You want to see mommy filming? Yeah? Wil je moeder zien filmen? It was Dutch. I'm Dutch, so hi. She's looking to the camera. Hi. Okay, so I catched the fluid, and it was clear. It wasn't dark brown or green, so that was okay. So immediately I called my husband. You have to go back right now because my water just broke. And it was just 5 minutes ago he just left. And then I called the midwife for, well, I really think that my water just broke. It's a lot of fluid right now, and it's clear, but I'm just only 35 weeks and 6 days, so this isn't really good. And she said, okay, be calm, I'm coming. Okay, so around 10 minutes later she was there. My husband was already home, and she checked it, and she said, yeah, your water just broke, so we need to go to the hospital. And okay, it's a little bit early, it's 4 and 1 day early, but most of the time it's going to be okay. You're just a week away from that you will be fully grown in your belly. Because it was so early, I didn't have my hospital bag ready, so I need to catch some stuff, and I was really stressing out. I'm like, oh my god. And I called my mom. Mom, my water just broke, we go to the hospital. And she was still sleeping, and she's living on the other side of the country, so she had to rush in to here. Hey. When I got at the hospital, I was already more relaxed than stressed out. My mother came an hour later, and she said, well, you're more relaxed. Well, they checked me in the hospital, and well, they said, we're not going to stop the contraction, because I already had some contractions immediately after my water broke. We're just going to see how it's going along, if the contractions are going to be heavier, if really going into labor or not. So they told me, because you're 35 weeks and 6 days, your baby can have some problems with the breathing or the temperature, and a lot of things you have problems with. And I was really like, oh my god. And then I still need to go to labor. Help, just let her reside me for a couple of weeks more. But they don't do that when you're at that kind of week. Contraction came more. After that, the contraction slowed down. So there was a moment when we thought, okay, I'm not going into labor today. Maybe I have to stay. Then I had to, no, not maybe, but then I had to stay in the hospital until there wasn't enough more water in my uterus, but there was still enough water. Then an hour later, suddenly the contraction became a lot heavier. So Dennis told me, okay, you're now going into labor. We see that, and the contraction is going to be more. Well, then they checked if I have a dilation, and when they checked, it was around 1 o'clock. And I already had 3 centimeters, but we don't know if it happened before I came into the hospital or it happened in the hospital, because my water was already broken. They didn't check it earlier because of risk for infection and that kind of things. Then they checked if there was some kind of condition in my body that was causing the labor, if I had an infection or some other kind of disease, but they came all clear negative. So I didn't have an infection or some kind of disease that just happened to be helping me into labor, but it didn't. So there wasn't a reason for her to be born that early, and so we told to each other, okay, she's just ready for it, because babies, they are setting in the labor when they're ready, so she probably was just ready for come to into the world. And from that point on, the contractions became heavier, but because she was so early, and mentally I wasn't ready for going into labor and delivery, because when you're pregnant, the last weeks, your mindset is more going to the labor and you're getting ready for giving birth to a child. And I missed that period. I'm sorry, I have to check her. I missed the period, and so mentally I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready at all. And because I wasn't ready, you got the hiccups. And because I wasn't ready, I almost kind of panic attacked, because I really had to, like, okay, just let her stay in me, and please I don't want to be in labor. I'm not ready yet. And I really had a panic attack. Yeah. In Holland, where I live, it's very normal to do a labor without pain medication. I myself didn't want to have any pain medication. That was my goal, like a lot of other women here in Holland. But when I had my panic attack, I couldn't relax. Because I was so stressed out, I couldn't handle the contraction. So every contraction became harder and harder, and I couldn't relax, and I had almost more panic attacks. So I finally decided that around, I think it was around 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, that I wanted to have pain medication. I didn't have an epidural, I did have a morphine pump, so I could pump sometimes around every minute if I wanted to have pain medication. I still felt the contraction, I still felt the pain, but it was more relaxed. Because of that, in 2 hours, from 7 to 9 p.m., I had a full dilation, 10 centimeters, and they checked me and they said, well, you can push now. And I'm like, what? Push now? Well, hello. I was really shocked. Okay, right now. And I didn't know what to do. So they helped me, they told me what to do, and I listened to that, and in 15 minutes time, she was there. She was born. But when she came out, I saw the navel cord was around her neck for 3 times. So the midwife was really like doing this very quick, and I was really shocked. Oh my god, the navel cord. She was joking, but she immediately when she came out, she was crying. Then I knew she was okay. And later they told me, because she was born too early, so tiny, low in weight, she didn't have any, the navel cord didn't do anything to her. It was so loose around her neck, so she didn't have trouble breathing because of that. They immediately put me on my chest belly, and it was all worth it. And that was something that I was screaming, it was worth it, it was worth it. It was so strange. And my husband was crying, my mom was crying, and she was crying, of course, Sienna. It felt so great the first time to just hold her on you, to smell her, to hear her. And that was such a wonderful moment that brutally been interrupted by the doctor, because she was born so early, her body temperature dropped so low. They suddenly took her away from me and took her down to the NICU. And that was really brutal. It was really hard. Just one moment you had a really great feeling from, oh my god, my baby's born, I'm holding her, and the other moment she's been brutally taken away from you and it's gone. My husband was walking after her, and I was there alone with my mom, the nurse, and the midwife, and she was just gone. And that was really hard. Looking back to that, it was really hard. At that point, there was so much going on, and I really knew, okay, she needs to be held warm, she needs to go down to the ICU. But looking back at it, it was really hard. You didn't have your child with you, and it's still something that makes me emotional. I'm sorry for that. In my head, I really had as a plan when she was born to hold her a long time on my chest, to cuddle her and try breastfeeding and that kind of things. And that didn't happen because she was born too early and her body temperature went so low she needed to go down to the NICU. That was between 10:30, 10 o'clock in the evening. I just saw her again at 12 o'clock, around midnight. That was the first time I saw her again and could hold her, and they brought me down to the NICU so I could hold her. But she needs to go back soon to get warm, so I couldn't hold her along in my arms. So they brought me to my room where I need to stay, and I had my first night with my child, and it was really hard. That was hard. I couldn't sleep. I tried to sleep because I was really tired, but I couldn't. I'm sorry. And looking back at that, I was so stupid. Looking back, I just stood up and walked down to her and sit near her. But I didn't because there was so much going on. And I had so much to. It was too much at that time, and yeah. Looking back, then it was really stupid for me just lay there in my bed alone. But okay, that happened. So, yeah, that happened. So the next morning around 8:30 a.m. we went down to the NICU. She was lying in the incubator, still just to be warm. She wasn't on oxygen or that kind of things on a heart monitor just because she had a low body temperature. But in the night, they were already setting the temperature warmer because she's holding her own temperature more. And the next hour she was really out of the incubator because she could hold her own body temperature, and we were really thankful for that. And from that point on, it was only that the feelings need to be well. She couldn't be on my breast because she was too early. She didn't have the energy or the suction because she didn't have the baby cheeks, what they need to have when they want to do breastfeeding. So we just do it. First we did feeding with a cup. Later we try it on the breast with some tube in it, so she had some breastfeeding. Well, I pumped earlier that day, and at one point we decided to go over at the bottle, but she only had no, that's not true. In the beginning it was a combination of bottle with my breast milk, and later because when my breastfeeding was coming, all the milk was coming out of me, and later she had only my breast milk. So, well, with a bottle because she didn't have the energy or the suction to get it out of my breast. And this was on Sunday, and on Friday morning we heard she could go home with us. So I was really happy with that. When I got home, it was the first time I really had, everything just fall off me. I got home, I was relaxed, and we had in Holland we have a nurse for 5 more days in my home to help you with the child. So I was really happy with that. At that point, I finally came to rest and could enjoy that I have become a mom. In Holland, when you come home from the hospital after labor and delivery, you have a nurse for around 8 days at your home to help you. But because I already had 5 days in the hospital, they're counting that. I already had for 3 days, but they exchanged that to 5 days. So from Friday to Tuesday, I had a nurse at my home who helped me and my husband, to get to know our child, to learn the things that we needed to know, and she gave me all the time so I could relax. And Nuna came to say hi. Hi, Nuna. So she helped me a lot, and at that point I could come to. At that point, I really came to rest for the first time. I could relax and enjoy that I had a child. And in hospital, I couldn't really do that because I was so stressed out or running from the other apartment to the other apartment, from the NICU to the room where I was sleeping above, and it was felt like a kind of rush. I needed just run, run, and didn't think about myself, only my child. And at home, the nurse said when she came to me for the first time, I really wanted to sit up to make her some coffee. She said, "No, you just went into labor. You just had the child. You just had the labor. sit down, I will do it. That's why I'm here. And that was really like, oh yeah, that's why she's here. She's here to help me rest. And that felt really good. For a baby that is born 4 weeks too early, she's doing so great, so fine. She's really packing on the pounds right now. Right now she's almost 4 kilos. Yeah, almost. So, and she was born with a weight of 2.1 kilos. So she's really drinking a lot, so she will gain a lot of weight. So you will, in a couple months, would even notice that she's been born that early. I'm really happy she's here. I'm really happy, mom. Yeah, she's really doing great. She's feeling great. She's currently on my breast, drinking. Well, not right now, but for 5 weeks had to pump almond milk, and since a week and a half, she's finally drinking from my breast, and I'm really happy with that. And that's another story I want to tell you, because that's a really long story also to tell, because this video is already going to be so long. I'm sorry for that, but that's in short my labor and delivery story from a 4-week early baby. Right now she's 6.5 weeks. I already told you that, but I'm sorry. Yeah, she's really doing great. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.